So we went to the temple today at Mahameona, and we listened to Sila Viveka Sadhu and asked them to explain to us what four types of foods are. 4 types of foods that keep us maintained in this life. And I first learned about this from Dr. Lalit, and I wanted Sila Viveka Sadhu to explain it to me and my brother and my sister. So the 4 types of food, first, this is the 4 types of food. First one is the physical nutrient, and the second one is the contact nutrient, and the third one is the mental nutrient, and then there's the 4th one, which is the consciousness nutrient. So today we only had time to discuss and to speak about the physical nutrient and the contact nutrient. In Pali or Sinhala, it's physical nutrients is called Kabalinkara Ahara, and contact nutrients is Pasto Ahara or Sparsha Ahara. So let's start with physical nutrient. So we started by discussing on two types of people. Two types of people there is. It's like we are living people, and there's birds, animals that are living, and then hold on a second. Move over to the next lane. This guy's car is broken. All right. First, yeah, that stinks. That's not any one of us. Okay, well, you can pause it. Okay, so there's 2 ways you are in existence, living, right? There's if you look at us, we're living right now, and for us to maintain this life, we have to have food. So those 4 food that I described earlier is 4 types of food that keeps us maintaining in terms of living and this body. For us to live, we have to maintain this body. And if you look at a child that haven't been born yet, they also have to have food that they have to maintain, or the mother have to maintain for them to live. Or if you look at a bird that haven't been born, that means like an egg. The living thing inside the egg have certain nutrients in that eggshell that they feed off of for them to maintain. So one of the major food. So the first food we're segueing into this first food is the first food is that this physical nutrient. Physical nutrient is, it could be pizza, it could be anything that we eat, pizza, rice, curry, bread, all these things, we eat it, and that's how we that's how we maintain this body. But Buddha looked at food in a different way. First, what he did is he break down our life. He pretty much break down life into 6 senses. Rather than looking at this whole perspective of living as I am talking, Buddha said, look at it like this. There's an eye, there's ears, there's a nose, there's a tongue, there's a body, and there's a mind. These 6 faculties or 6 senses is what I, this thing that we called I, is consist of. And we use these 6 senses for us to keep maintaining. So for example, like eyes, without the eyes, I wouldn't be able to see the road while I'm driving. So food for my eye would be the pictures. And without ears that you have, you wouldn't be able to listen to what I'm saying, because the sound is the food for your ears. And then if I'm thirsty, or if I want to eat, if I'm eating something, I won't be able to eat without a tongue and taste that. So that taste, or that tasting that food, or whatever that food I'm eating, that taste is the food for the tongue. And then I could touch my hand. If my hand's hurting, I could give it a massage. I could give a massage to my head. Like, this feeling of touch is the food for the body. So Buddha said, always look into the 6 senses, and he broke down this first physical nutrient out that way. And then for the mind, the food for the mind is the thought. We think about, like, we think about things that we intake from the other 5 senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body. Whatever we had contact with before, we think about those things with our mind, and that's the food for our mind. Like, for example, I could tell you right now, you might not be with your parents, or you might not be with your best friend, but you might be. But I could tell you, think about your best friend, and your mind is already thinking about your best friend. At that very second I bought your best friend out and your parents up, you could be thinking about them in your mind. So that's the way the mind feeds. So this is where it comes down to: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind, which is you, have physical nutrients that it have to take in for it to maintain. Because if your eyes doesn't get any food, which is pictures, would your eyes work? It wouldn't. It's because that you see pictures, you know, okay, I have an eye and my eye is working. And then with food, you put food in your stomach, you put food in your mouth, and you could taste it, and you give food for your tongue, and then there you go, you're feeding your tongue. And then you touch your body, you could feel pain in your body, you have that food for your body. And you're thinking about all these things. Thinking is, or the thoughts that arises, or intentions, is the food for the mind. What else did he talk about? Did he talk about anything before that? What did he talk about? What else? Pause it. Okay. So let's say that let's say there's food in front of you, your favorite food. It's right in front of you, and before you saw your favorite food, I said favorite food, you're already thinking about your favorite food, and you might be even hungry, like, oh man, I want to go eat my favorite food. And let's say I tell you to close your eyes, and I bring the favorite food in front of you. You will look at it, and you will already have the desire and the wanting to eat that food, because that's your favorite food. But what Buddha said was that we have a great deal of attachment and desire for these food. Not just in terms of maintaining, there's a desire. We're willing to fight. We're willing to fight for the food. For example, if you have siblings, you might have some food in that your mom or dad bring home, and then you guys might say, oh, I want this much, I want this one. You guys might, when you're little kids, you know, you might even fight for the little food that was just on the table. Or let's say it's chocolate. You have to split out chocolate. You might want more, and then you're in the house and somebody else bring some other food, and you might want a part of that food, because we really want to eat food, and that's the way we feed our body, and we have this desire for this taste. But what if it's a food that you don't like? If it's a food that you don't like, then you don't have the desire. You don't want that food. So just like that, we have that desire to see what we like. If you don't like to see people getting killed, then you don't want to see that picture. But you might want to look at a movie. You might want to watch a movie. You might want to, certain things that you like to see, the pictures you like to see, you feed it. You feed these pictures to your eye. And then you feed these sounds, beautiful music you like to hear, you listen to it, you play the radio, it's all loud. And then mom comes yell like, oh, this is too loud, or your neighbor start complaining or making noise. Then what do? You increase the volume of the music just so you don't want to hear the neighbor, because that food you're getting to your ear you don't like. And this is actually transmitting into the second type of food that the monk talked about, is that it's the contact nutrient. Contact nutrient is that let's say, for example, let's say you were dead. If you're dead, then if you are dead, you won't be able to see anything from your eye, because if there's someone that's dead here, I could open their eyes and be like, hey, look at me. They won't be able to look at you. If you hit them or if you poke them, they won't have any feelings towards you because they're dead. No one's there. Then the question arises, then what keeps us in touch is the consciousness. So this is where the contact nutrient happen. So you have to have these three things. Three things have to come together for you to be able to have contact with the food. So it's called the contact nutrient, or in Sinhala it's called the sparsha ahara, and in Pali it's called the paso ahara. Ahara is food. So let's start with the eye. So we have the eye, and then we have the picture. Just because you have the eyes and the picture, there's not going to be a contact. Then what come into existence is the consciousness. Consciousness comes and it recognizes, oh, that's the picture. And then, like, for example, let's take an example. These keys. Keys are right here, and your eye looks at the keys. And what identified these keys was my consciousness. My consciousness identified, oh, that's keys. So my eyes and the picture of these keys and my consciousness helped me to identify. I had a contact. My eyes just had contact with this picture, and it became a nutrient for my eye. It became a food for my eyes. This picture became a food for my eye because my eye have its own consciousness, which it helped to realize their keys. And I can make noise with this. It makes sound. So even if I have my eyes closed and I'm making sound, I just gave nutrients to my ear, which is sound. But if there's no consciousness in my ear, I wouldn't recognize. This contact wouldn't have happened. It's because of consciousness this contact happened. This is contact nutrient. So the sound with the combination of the ear and with the combination of the consciousness, I had contact, or my ear had contact with this sound of these keys because of the consciousness, because of the ear, and because of the sound of the keys. And the same thing goes. If I put these keys in my mouth, I could taste the bitterness of the keys. And then because of the tongue, because of the taste, because my consciousness understood it's a metal, I had that taste, the contact with that taste of the key. And same thing with my hand. I could put these keys on my hand, I could touch it, I could feel it. But how did it happen? First, I have the keys in my hand and my body is here. I could feel it, and then there's a consciousness for the body where I have a contact with. When those threes come together, this contact nutrient come about. That's how we have contact. And we have contact because of this. If it wasn't for this contact, we wouldn't be able to recognize things in this world. We wouldn't be able to recognize the food that we eat. We wouldn't be able to recognize the picture. Nothing would happen. It's because of this contact we have desire. For example, let's say you go to a restaurant and they have this new food that you never tried. So the waiter brings the food and then you look at it. So now, because with your eye and the picture, you saw the picture of the food, and then your consciousness your consciousness from your eye had a contact. So with the picture of the food, with your eye, and with the consciousness, you had a contact. You just got the contact nutrient with that food. And then with your nose, with the smell of the food, and with your consciousness, you had the contact for your nose, which is the smell of that food. And with your hand, you could touch the food and feel, oh, it's very soft food. Or you could feel it, oh, it's rotten, or whatever it is. With the touch, with the body, and with the consciousness, you had that contact nutrient for touch, for your body, for that food. And then you could cut it up and eat it. And when you eat it, you could feel the taste in your tongue. And you have your tongue, you could feel the taste, and then you have a consciousness. With the consciousness, now you just had the contact of taste with that food. Then desire arise. Now you like, let's say you like the food, now you want the food. You have the desire. Now you see something you like, you have the desire to see that. You hear something you like, you have the desire to hear. You feel something, you touch it, you feel good, then you have the desire to feel that way. Which makes you want to have the desire to exist. That's why we maintain. This is what you call attachment. We are so attached to this world because we have the desire to feed these six senses. We keep feeding our ears with beautiful music and things we like to, whatever the individual, it all goes for individual to individual is different. What I call beautiful to my ear might not be beautiful to you. So you might want to listen to rock music. The other guy might want to listen to rap. I might want to listen to R&B. It all depends on the person. And for each one of us, it's unique. It's a different type of nutrient. And we list because of this attachment or desire to these two types of food, we are stuck. We are stuck, and we want it. And even if, let's say, we don't have the food that we like, or it might be a person that you like, you see the person, your eyes and your consciousness and the picture of the person, you had a contact with that person, and then now you desire that person. It could be in a like a relation. Let's take a relationship, for example. You have your beautiful boyfriend or beautiful girlfriend that you like and you love because you had contact. It was a contact nutrient to you, to your senses, and you like it. And now if this person leaves you or goes away, now you have a problem. Something that you desire no longer there, therefore now you are suffering, you're sad, oh, that's not there. Or if you don't have food, you're hungry and you're like, oh man, I need food, and you're sad. So everything we do it to satisfy our six senses and feed these nutrients. And not just us, birds, cats, even like in the scriptures they talk about like even angels and demons and different levels of hell that they talk about in the scriptures. You don't have to believe in those things, but I mean, you could just take human world as an example and the animal kingdom. Everybody desire these things. We all desire the touch, the taste of food. There are certain, and if you look at a dog, they eat different type of food than us. If you look at a worm, they eat different food than us, but they still have the desire to eat because they want to stay in existence. They want to maintain. They want to maintain the status they're in. The worm want to maintain being a worm. An ant want to maintain being an ant. A human want to maintain being a human and keep feeding these desires through these six senses. And Buddha gave an example. He said this desire, and for the mind, if nothing is there, with the mind we think about it. We keep thinking about it because that's the contact. You have the consciousness, you have the mind, and you have the thought or the intention of it, of whatever it is, and you think about it. If it's your girlfriend or boyfriend, you could close your eyes, or you could be somewhere. That person doesn't have to be there. You have to think about that person. So that thought comes. And then your mind is there. And then the consciousness is there. The interaction between the three creates the contact nutrient for the mind object, for the mind to think about the object. So mind, object, consciousness, you have a contact nutrients happening, and we are feeding off of this, the desire. But let's say you didn't have any desire. If you don't have any desire, you might still think about it, but you're not affected because of it. Because of this contact nutrient, we go through a lot of problems. Like, because of this contact nutrient, the desire is introduced to us. It's because we had contact with you had contact with your favorite food. If you never had contact with your favorite food, you would never know that's your favorite food. But you had contact with your favorite food. Now you know this is my favorite food. Because of this contact nutrient, now you have desire. You have desire to taste your favorite food. You have desire to be with people that you like. And you have no desire at all to be with people that you don't like. And you have no desire at all to be with to eat things that you don't like. But what Buddha explained is this: what these desires that we have creates attachment, and this is not good for us. it kind of tricks us into maintaining this life, and we're in this life just keep switching channels. That's what the monk said. He said we always switch channels. Like oh, now I'm driving, so now I have contact with the car and the road and everything, but the next and then next thing I see a restaurant. Oh, I switch channels. I go to the restaurant with these 6 senses, and then I have contact with the food. I eat, taste, another thing. And when these desires, when the things that we have contact with, it doesn't satisfy us, then we're sad. Then we are unhappy. People that we love pass away, we're unhappy. We don't like to get old, because of this contact. Because this contact creates certain desires for that individual. Individually, each one of us have unique desires. And these desires came about because of this contact. And this context, this idea or the concept of this contact nutrient, it changes. Every single second we are living, we keep feeding us. And this contact could create happy feelings. This contact could create sad feelings or neutral feelings. Regardless, we are in contact. And Buddha had an analogy for that. He said, imagine a cow that's been skinned. Like the cow's skin is peeled off of his body, and because it's been peeled off, he's suffering so much he cannot stay in the air, because the air hits it. He could feel the air going through his muscles and blood, and he's in suffering. And there's what do you call it? There's flies that come stick to him, and the cow can't handle that. So he runs and he goes under a tree. And when you go under a tree, there's other insects and all these things that come stick to his skin, and his skin is not there, so he's in pain. And he might go jump in the water, and in the water he's still in pain, because there's fish that's come trying to touch his skin, and he don't have skin, and it's in pain. Buddha said, in our life, we do the same thing with our six senses. Our 6 senses and this contact nutrient contract nutrient that we have for these 6 senses are the same. Like, we are here now, I'm talking to you guys. You guys are feeding your mind and your ears, your eyes with this video, ears with the audio, and then your mind, because of the things I'm telling you, all these other 5 senses are affecting the mind, and you're feeding it. And that's pretty much like a summary of what we talked about today. And the next time the monk's gonna explain about the mental nutrient and the consciousness nutrient. And he said it's gonna be very complicated, and he's gonna go deeply more into that. And that's what we talked about today. That's pretty much everything, right?